The crumpled $20 bill lay on the gymnasium floor like a discarded tissue, while 300 parents in designer suits and silk dresses stared in stunned silence at the woman who had just been publicly humiliated for her embarrassingly small contribution to Westfield Academy's annual gala. Sarah Martinez stood frozen beside the fallen money, her Walmart clearance dress a stark contrast to the Chanel and Hermès surrounding her, as PTA President Victoria Ashworth's cruel laughter echoed through the decorated space. What Victoria didn't know as she stood there savoring her moment of social dominance was that the unassuming custodial worker she had just mocked in front of half the city's elite was about to change everything. What she couldn't have imagined as she dismissed Sarah's $20 as hardly worth counting was that within minutes, the principal would be reading the name on a $500,000 anonymous check that would expose the true identity of the woman she had just destroyed. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The story of how Sarah Martinez found herself being ridiculed at the most exclusive private school fundraiser in Denver begins 6 months earlier in the cramped maintenance office of Westfield Academy, where she had worked for the past 3 years. At 42, Sarah possessed the kind of quiet competence that made her invisible to the wealthy families whose children attended the prestigious institution. She arrived each morning before dawn to clean classrooms, empty trash bins, and maintain the pristine facilities that justified the school's $40,000 annual tuition. Her coworkers knew her as a dedicated single mother who lived paycheck to paycheck in a modest apartment across town, taking the bus to work each day because she couldn't afford a reliable car. What they didn't know was that Sarah Martinez was worth more than most of the parents who dropped off their children in luxury vehicles each morning. The deception had begun innocently enough when Sarah first took the custodial position at Westfield Academy. She had been looking for a way to stay close to her daughter Emma, who had earned a full academic scholarship to attend the elite institution. Working at the school meant Sarah could keep an eye on Emma's progress while remaining invisible to the social hierarchies that governed the parent community. The uniform she wore each day, navy blue work clothes with her name embroidered in simple white letters, served as perfect camouflage in a world where status was measured by designer labels and expensive accessories. Sarah's true financial situation was the result of a software patent she had developed 15 years earlier while working as a programmer for a small technology firm. The patent had been acquired by a major corporation for an initial payment of $12 million, followed by ongoing royalty payments that had grown into a substantial fortune over the years. Conservative investments and careful financial management had multiplied her wealth to over $40 million, generating passive income that exceeded most people's annual salaries every single month. The decision to keep her wealth secret had been motivated by a desire to protect Emma from the complications that came with being known as the daughter of a millionaire. Sarah had witnessed too many wealthy families where money created isolation, entitlement, and damaged relationships between parents and children. By maintaining their modest lifestyle and keeping her financial status private, Sarah ensured that Emma would develop character, work ethic, and genuine friendships based on who she was rather than what her family could provide. Emma Martinez was a remarkable 16-year-old who had earned her place at Westfield Academy through exceptional academic performance and natural leadership abilities. She served as president of the environmental club, captain of the debate team, and maintained a perfect grade point average while working part-time at the local library to help with family expenses. What made Emma extraordinary wasn't just her intelligence and dedication, but her complete lack of awareness about the social hierarchies that dominated her school's culture. While her classmates competed over designer handbags and expensive vacations, Emma wore clothes from thrift stores and packed lunches in brown paper bags. She never complained about their family's apparent financial limitations or expressed envy about the luxury lifestyle surrounding her. Instead, she focused on her studies, her extracurricular activities, and her plans for attending college on the multiple full scholarships she was already being offered by prestigious universities. The parent community at Westfield Academy operated according to rigid social rules that determined everything from committee assignments to lunch table seating arrangements. Victoria Ashworth had established herself as the undisputed queen of this hierarchy through a combination of inherited wealth, social connections, and ruthless ambition. As PTA president for the past 4 years, Victoria controlled every aspect of school fundraising and social events, using her position to reinforce the class distinctions that kept families like the Martinez family in their assigned place. Victoria's own daughter, Madison, was Emma's age but possessed none of Emma's academic abilities or natural charm. Madison had been accepted to Westfield Academy purely through her family's generous donations and her mother's influence, struggling academically while excelling only in shopping and social media. The contrast between Madison's privileged mediocrity and Emma's scholarship-funded excellence created a source of constant irritation for Victoria, who viewed the Martinez family as an uncomfortable reminder that money couldn't purchase genuine merit or character. The tension between the two mothers had been building for months through a series of small incidents that highlighted their different values and circumstances. When Emma had been selected for the National Honor Society while Madison was rejected, Victoria had complained to the administration about favoritism toward scholarship students. When Emma's environmental club had proposed reducing the school's waste by eliminating single-use water bottles, Victoria had dismissed the initiative as hippie nonsense from families who can't afford proper hydration options. Most recently, Victoria had blocked Emma's nomination for student body president, arguing that leadership positions should go to families who have invested in the school community rather than scholarship recipients who take resources without giving back. The casual cruelty of Victoria's reasoning had stung Sarah deeply, but she had maintained her silence to avoid creating problems for Emma's academic future. The annual Westfield Academy Gala was the social event of the year, where wealthy families gathered to bid on luxury auction items while raising funds for various school programs. Tables cost $5,000 each, with many families spending additional thousands on auction items and direct donations. The evening was as much about displaying social status as it was about supporting education, with each family's contribution level carefully noted and discussed throughout Denver's elite circles. Sarah had never attended the gala in previous years, understanding that her presence would create awkwardness for everyone involved. As a member of the custodial staff, she wasn't expected to participate in parent social events, and the cost of attending would have been prohibitive given her supposed financial circumstances. This year, however, Emma had been selected to receive the Outstanding Student Achievement Award, requiring family attendance at the ceremony. The invitation that arrived in Sarah's mailbox was clearly a reluctant obligation rather than a genuine welcome. The note attached to the formal invitation was signed by Victoria Ashworth and included a passive-aggressive suggestion that financial assistance might be available for families experiencing hardship if they needed help with the table cost. The condescending tone of the message revealed Victoria's assumption that the Martinez family would either decline to attend or require charity to participate. Sarah's decision to attend the gala was motivated entirely by her desire to support Emma's achievement and witness her daughter's recognition for years of hard work. She purchased a single ticket rather than a full table, paying the individual rate of $800 that represented a significant expense for someone living on a custodial worker's salary. The purchase left her with exactly $23 in her checking account, the modest amount she maintained to support her carefully constructed financial facade. The preparation for the gala required Sarah to navigate challenges she hadn't anticipated when she decided to maintain her secret identity. Her wardrobe consisted entirely of work uniforms and casual clothes appropriate for their modest lifestyle, nothing suitable for an event where most women would be wearing designer gowns worth more than many people's annual salaries. A trip to the discount department store yielded a simple black dress marked down to $37, which she purchased using money from her emergency cash fund. Emma was thrilled that her mother would be attending the ceremony to see her receive the Outstanding Student Achievement Award. She had no idea that Sarah's presence at the gala would create social complications or that the family's financial circumstances made the attendance a significant sacrifice. Emma's excitement about sharing this important moment with her mother made Sarah's nervousness about the evening's potential challenges seem manageable and worthwhile.
The night of the gala, Sarah arrived at the decorated gymnasium feeling like an anthropologist observing an alien culture. The transformation of the familiar space was remarkable, with elegant lighting, professional floral arrangements, and table settings that probably cost more than most families spent on groceries in a month. Women in designer gowns and expensive jewelry moved through the space with practiced grace, while men in perfectly tailored tuxedos discussed business deals and investment opportunities. Sarah's discount dress and minimal makeup immediately marked her as an outsider in this world of polished sophistication and obvious wealth. She could feel curious glances and whispered conversations as other parents tried to place her within the school's social hierarchy. Her presence disrupted their carefully organized understanding of who belonged at such events and who should remain invisible in the background. The seating arrangement placed Sarah at a table in the back corner of the gymnasium, far from the prominent families who occupied the prime locations near the stage. Her table mates included other scholarship families and newer parents who hadn't yet established their social standing within the community. The conversation was polite, but strained, with everyone aware that their table represented the school's financial diversity rather than its social elite. Victoria Ashworth commanded attention from the center of the room, resplendent in a designer gown that probably cost more than Sarah's annual salary in her custodial position. She moved between tables with queenly confidence, accepting congratulations on the evening's elegant organization while making pointed observations about attendance and contribution levels. Her presence at each table was clearly a performance of social dominance, reminding everyone of their place in the carefully maintained hierarchy. When Victoria approached Sarah's table, the conversation died to uncomfortable silence as the other parents recognized the potential for social conflict. Victoria's expression combined surprise and displeasure as she processed Sarah's presence at an event she clearly considered inappropriate for someone of Sarah's supposed social status. The maintenance worker attending the Academy's most exclusive fundraising event represented a violation of unspoken boundaries that governed their community. "Sarah Martinez," Victoria said, with the kind of artificial smile that barely concealed her irritation. "How interesting to see you here this evening. I wasn't aware that staff members typically attended parent functions." The deliberate emphasis on staff members was designed to remind everyone present of Sarah's position within the school's social hierarchy and her obvious inability to afford participation in such an expensive event. The maintenance worker attending the Academy's most exclusive fundraising event represented a violation of unspoken boundaries that govern their community. "I'm here to support Emma," Sarah replied quietly, her voice steady despite the growing attention from nearby tables. "She's receiving the Outstanding Student Achievement Award tonight." "Of course," Victoria replied with condescending approval. "Emma is certainly a dedicated student, though I do hope you understand that tonight's fundraising goals are quite ambitious. Every family is expected to contribute according to their means." The warning was delivered with enough volume to ensure that surrounding tables could hear Victoria's reminder about financial expectations. Her message was clear. Sarah's presence at the gala created an obligation to contribute financially, regardless of her obvious inability to make a meaningful donation. The statement was designed to create embarrassment and pressure Sarah into either leaving or making a contribution that would highlight her family's modest circumstances. Sarah reached into her small purse and withdrew the $20 bill that represented almost every penny she had in her checking account. The modest contribution reflected her carefully maintained financial facade while ensuring that she could meet Victoria's demand for participation. She had anticipated this moment and prepared to handle the humiliation with dignity for Emma's sake. "I'd like to contribute $20 to this year's fundraising efforts," Sarah said, placing the wrinkled bill on the table between them. The effect was immediate and devastating. Victoria's expression shifted from condescending politeness to open disdain as she stared at the modest contribution. Conversations at nearby tables stopped as parents processed the awkward situation unfolding before them. The $20 bill seemed to shrink under their collective gaze, appearing pathetic and inadequate in a room where most families were writing checks for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars.
$20, Victoria repeated slowly, her voice carrying just enough volume to ensure that her words reached the surrounding tables. How very thoughtful. The pause before the word thoughtful was loaded with enough sarcasm to make her true meaning unmistakable. Victoria was savoring the opportunity to publicly humiliate someone she viewed as beneath her social station, using Sarah's modest contribution as evidence of the Martinez family's inability to participate meaningfully in the school community's financial obligations. Other parents began turning their attention toward the developing confrontation, recognizing that they were witnessing one of Victoria's signature performances of social dominance. Some looked uncomfortable with the public humiliation unfolding before them, while others seemed entertained by the drama. All of them understood that Victoria was using this moment to reinforce the social boundaries that governed their community. "I understand that everyone contributes according to their ability," Sarah said diplomatically, hoping to diffuse the situation before it escalated further. "This represents what I can afford to give tonight." $20, Victoria said again, this time with a laugh that carried across the room like a social announcement. "Well, I suppose every little bit helps, though I have to say this is rather embarrassingly small for a family that chose to attend our most important fundraising event of the year." The word embarrassingly hit Sarah like a physical blow, creating a moment of stunned silence throughout their section of the gymnasium. Victoria had crossed the line from social pressure into outright cruelty, publicly shaming a family's financial circumstances in a room full of their community's most influential members. The attack was personal, vicious, and designed to establish permanent social dominance through public humiliation. Sarah felt her face flush with shame and anger as she realized that her attempt to support Emma's achievement had become a spectacle for the entertainment of wealthy parents who viewed her family's modest circumstances as amusing. The $20 bill on the table seemed to represent everything that separated her from this world of casual wealth and social privilege. For a moment, she considered walking away to preserve what remained of her dignity. That's when Emma appeared beside the table, having left her seat near the stage to check on her mother during the donation portion of the evening. At 16, Emma possessed enough social awareness to understand exactly what was happening, and her face reflected a mixture of humiliation and protective anger as she processed Victoria's cruel performance. "Mom," Emma said quietly, "is everything okay here?" The sight of her daughter witnessing this public humiliation triggered something fundamental in Sarah's protective instincts. Emma had worked too hard and achieved too much to have her accomplishments overshadowed by her family's supposed financial inadequacy. The scholarship student who had earned her place at Westfield Academy through merit deserved better than watching her mother be ridiculed for trying to participate in her recognition ceremony. "Your mother was just making her contribution to tonight's fundraising efforts," Victoria said to Emma with false sweetness. $20, which I'm sure represents a significant sacrifice for your family." The patronizing tone Victoria used when addressing Emma was designed to reinforce the social hierarchy while appearing sympathetic to their financial limitations. She was using the public setting to establish permanent social dominance over both mother and daughter, ensuring that everyone present understood the Martinez family's place in the community's power structure. Emma's response surprised everyone within hearing distance. Instead of embarrassment or defensive anger, she looked directly at Victoria with the kind of calm confidence that had made her a natural leader among her peers. $20 is what my mother can afford to give publicly, Emma said clearly, but that doesn't represent the full extent of our family's support for Westfield Academy. The statement created confused murmurs among the nearby parents as they tried to understand what Emma was suggesting. Her words implied that the Martinez family had additional resources or contributions that weren't reflected in the modest cash donation, but such a claim seemed impossible given their obvious financial circumstances. Victoria's expression shifted from triumphant satisfaction to puzzled irritation as she processed Emma's unexpected response.
The scholarship student wasn't supposed to challenge her authority or suggest that her family possessed hidden resources. Emma's calm confidence disrupted the humiliation scenario that Victoria had been orchestrating for her own entertainment and social positioning. "I'm not sure what you mean," Victoria said carefully, recognizing that the conversation was taking an unexpected direction that might not serve her purposes. "I mean that my mother believes in supporting education through multiple channels," Emma replied with the diplomatic skill that had made her an effective debate team captain. "Some contributions are public and others are private. Some families choose to make their generosity visible, while others prefer the help quietly." The philosophical distinction Emma was making between public and private philanthropy was sophisticated enough to impress the adults listening to their conversation. She was suggesting that the Martinez family's true charitable giving might be deliberately hidden, which challenged Victoria's assumption that the $20 bill represented their total financial capacity. Principal David Richardson chose that moment to approach their table, clearly aware that some kind of disruption was affecting the evening's carefully planned program.
As the school's chief administrator, he was responsible for maintaining diplomatic relationships with all families while ensuring that fundraising goals were met without creating unnecessary social conflict. "Good evening, everyone," Principal Richardson said with professional warmth, his presence immediately calming the tension that had been building around their conversation. "I hope you're all enjoying this year's gala and the wonderful support our community is showing for Westfield Academy's programs." Victoria immediately shifted into her public persona, the gracious PTA president who coordinated successful events for the benefit of the entire school community. Her transformation from cruel antagonist to charitable organizer was swift and practiced, demonstrating her skill at managing social situations for maximum personal advantage. "Principal Richardson," Victoria said with renewed warmth, "we were just discussing the various ways that families contribute to our school's success. Mrs. Martinez has made a generous $20 donation tonight." The emphasis on generous was heavy with sarcasm, though Victoria delivered it with enough sweetness to maintain plausible deniability about her cruel intentions. She was using Principal Richardson's presence to amplify her humiliation of the Martinez family, while appearing to celebrate their modest contribution. Principal Richardson Victoria said with renewed warmth, "We were just discussing the various ways that families contribute to our school's success. Mrs. Martinez has made a generous $20 donation tonight." The emphasis on generous was heavy with sarcasm, though Victoria delivered it with enough sweetness to maintain plausible deniability about her cruel intentions. She was using Principal Richardson's presence to amplify her humiliation of the Martinez family while appearing to celebrate their modest contribution. Principal Richardson's expression suggested that he understood exactly what had been happening and disapproved of Victoria's approach to the situation. As an educator, he was more interested in Emma's remarkable academic achievements than her family's financial circumstances, and he had little patience for social dynamics that detracted from the evening's educational focus. "Mrs. Martinez," Principal Richardson said directly to Sarah, "I want to thank you for raising such an exceptional daughter. Emma's contributions to our school community through her academic achievement and leadership have been truly remarkable." The genuine warmth in Principal Richardson's voice created a sharp contrast to Victoria's artificial courtesy, reminding everyone present that the evening was supposed to celebrate educational achievement rather than social hierarchy. His public acknowledgement of Emma's merit helped restore dignity to a situation that had become unnecessarily cruel and divisive. "Emma has worked very hard," Sarah replied with quiet pride, grateful for Principal Richardson's intervention in what had become a humiliating situation. "She deserves all the recognition she receives tonight." "Absolutely," Principal Richardson agreed, then turned to address the broader group that had gathered around their table. "In fact, I believe it's time for us to begin the awards ceremony portion of our evening. Emma, would you like to join me on stage for your recognition?" The invitation provided a graceful exit from the confrontation, while redirecting attention toward the educational achievements that the gala was supposed to celebrate. Emma's academic success represented the best of what Westfield Academy could accomplish, regardless of family financial circumstances or social positioning within the parent community. As Emma moved toward the stage with Principal Richardson, Sarah remained at her table, surrounded by parents who were still processing the social drama they had witnessed.
The $20 bill lay forgotten on the table, while conversations resumed around topics safer than financial contributions and social hierarchies. Victoria retreated to her prominent table near the front of the room, her moment of cruel entertainment concluded but not forgotten. The awards ceremony proceeded with the kind of polished professionalism that justified Westfield Academy's reputation for educational excellence. Multiple students were recognized for various achievements, from academic honors to community service projects to artistic accomplishments. Each recognition reminded the audience that the school's true mission was developing young people's potential rather than maintaining social distinctions among their families. When Emma's name was called for the Outstanding Student Achievement Award, the applause was genuine and sustained. Her classmates cheered enthusiastically, while parents who knew her academic reputation showed appropriate appreciation for her accomplishments. Even families who had never heard of Emma before tonight could recognize that she represented the kind of student success that made Westfield Academy worthy of their substantial tuition investments. Principal Richardson's introduction of Emma highlighted her perfect grade point average, her leadership in multiple extracurricular activities, and the full scholarships she had already been offered by several prestigious universities. The achievements he described were remarkable by any standard, representing the kind of student success that brought positive attention to the entire school community. Emma's brief acceptance speech was gracious and articulate, thanking her teachers, her classmates, and her mother for the support that had made her achievements possible. She spoke about the importance of education as a tool for creating positive change in the world, and her commitment to using her scholarship opportunities to pursue environmental science research that could benefit future generations. The applause that followed Emma's speech was warm and respectful, acknowledging both her academic accomplishments and her mature perspective on education's broader purpose. Sarah felt tremendous pride watching her daughter handle the recognition with the kind of dignity and grace that money couldn't buy or social position guarantee. As the awards ceremony concluded and the evening moved toward its fundraising climax, Sarah prepared to leave quietly rather than endure any additional humiliation about her modest financial contribution. The recognition of Emma's achievements had been worth attending the gala, but she had no desire to remain for the auction portion of the evening, where wealthy families would compete to display their generosity through expensive bids on luxury items. Victoria Ashworth returned to center stage to announce the evening's fundraising totals and acknowledge the major donors whose contributions would support various school programs throughout the coming year. Her presentation was polished and professional, demonstrating the organizational skills that had made her an effective PTA president despite her problematic social attitudes. Tonight's generous contributions total over $300,000, Victoria announced to enthusiastic applause from the crowd. These funds will support our technology improvements, facility upgrades, and scholarship programs that make Westfield Academy accessible to deserving students regardless of their family circumstances. The reference to scholarship programs felt pointed, given the evening's earlier confrontation about the Martinez family's financial limitations.
Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story.
Victoria was using her platform to reinforce the social hierarchy that positioned wealthy donors as benefactors and scholarship families as grateful recipients of charitable generosity. Now, Victoria continued, I'd like to recognize our major donors, whose extraordinary generosity makes tonight's success possible. The acknowledgement process began with families who had contributed $10,000 or more, followed by recognition for those giving between $5,000 and $10,000. Each announcement was accompanied by sustained applause and social positioning that reinforced the community's understanding of who possessed real influence and resources. Sarah gathered her small purse and prepared to leave during the donor recognition segment, hoping to avoid any additional attention or humiliation related to her modest $20 contribution. The evening had served its purpose by allowing her to witness Emma's achievement recognition, and staying longer risked creating more opportunities for social conflict. That's when Principal Richardson's voice carried across the gymnasium with an announcement that changed everything. Before we conclude tonight's recognition, I have one additional acknowledgement to make, Principal Richardson said, his tone suggesting something significant was about to be revealed. 3 months ago, Westfield Academy received an anonymous donation of $500,000, designated specifically for scholarship programs and facility improvements. The announcement created immediate excitement throughout the room as parents processed the significance of such an extraordinary contribution. $500,000 represented the largest single donation in the school's history, dwarfing even the most generous contributions from established wealthy families. The anonymous nature of the gift made it even more intriguing, creating speculation about which family possessed both the resources and the humility to make such a contribution without seeking public recognition. Tonight, Principal Richardson continued, the donor has given me permission to reveal their identity, along with a message about why this contribution was important to them. Sarah felt her heart stop as she realized what was about to happen. 3 months earlier, she had made the anonymous donation using one of her investment accounts, motivated by her desire to support scholarship programs that made education accessible to deserving students regardless of family financial circumstances. The timing had coincided with Emma's junior year achievements and her growing awareness of how financial barriers affected many talented students' educational opportunities. The donation had been structured to remain completely anonymous, with the funds transferred through a charitable foundation that protected donor identities. Principal Richardson had been given a sealed envelope containing the donor's name, with instructions to open it only if certain conditions were met. Those conditions had apparently been satisfied by the evening's events. The anonymous donor, Principal Richardson announced, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent gymnasium, is Sarah Martinez, whose daughter Emma received tonight's Outstanding Student Achievement Award. The silence that followed was complete and profound, as 300 parents processed information that fundamentally contradicted everything they thought they knew about the Martinez family's financial circumstances. The custodial worker, who had been publicly humiliated for her $20 contribution, had quietly donated more money than most of them would earn in a decade. Victoria Ashworth's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and growing horror as she realized the implications of Principal Richardson's announcement. The woman she had publicly ridiculed for her embarrassingly small contribution was responsible for the largest donation in the school's history, given anonymously while working as a custodial employee and living in apparent modest circumstances. Sarah remained frozen in her seat as every head in the gymnasium turned toward her table, their expressions ranging from amazement to embarrassment to respectful recognition. The transformation in how she was being perceived was immediate and complete, shifting from an object of condescending charity to someone whose generosity had fundamentally supported the school community. Mrs. Martinez has asked me to share her message about this contribution, Principal Richardson continued, opening the envelope that contained Sarah's explanation for the anonymous donation. She writes, "Education has the power to transform lives and communities, but only when it's accessible to students based on merit rather than family wealth. This donation supports scholarship programs because every child deserves the opportunity to reach their potential regardless of their economic circumstances." The message was simple, dignified, and directly relevant to the social dynamics that had been playing out throughout the evening. Sarah's philanthropy was motivated by exactly the kind of values that Victoria had been undermining through her cruel treatment of families she viewed as financially inferior. Mrs. Martinez has been working at Westfield Academy for 3 years, Principal Richardson added, not because she needed employment, but because she wanted to stay close to Emma's educational experience while contributing to our school community in multiple ways. Her service in our custodial department has been exemplary, just as her financial support has been transformative. The revelation that Sarah's employment at the school had been a choice rather than a necessity created another layer of respect and curiosity among the parents processing this information. She had been cleaning their children's classrooms and maintaining their facilities while possessing wealth that exceeded most of their own resources, motivated by parental dedication rather than economic need. Emma's expression showed complete surprise as she processed the revelation about her family's true financial circumstances. For 16 years, she had believed that they lived paycheck to paycheck on her mother's custodial salary, never suspecting that their modest lifestyle was a deliberate choice rather than an economic necessity. The discovery recontextualized every sacrifice she thought her mother had made for her education and every moment of financial worry she had experienced. Victoria Ashworth attempted to recover from her devastating social miscalculation by approaching Sarah's table with what appeared to be apologetic intentions. Her earlier confidence and cruel satisfaction had evaporated, replaced by the kind of desperate damage control that followed major social errors in front of influential witnesses.
Mrs. Martinez, Victoria said carefully, her voice lacking its earlier condescension. I had no idea about your generous support for our school community. If I seemed insensitive earlier, please understand that I was simply trying to encourage participation from all families. The attempted apology was weak and self-serving, focusing more on Victoria's social positioning than on the genuine harm her cruel behavior had caused.
Her reference to encouraging participation conveniently ignored the deliberate humiliation she had orchestrated for her own entertainment and social dominance. Sarah stood slowly, her quiet dignity now commanding the respectful attention of everyone within sight. The transformation in how she was being perceived was remarkable, shifting from invisible service employee to influential community member whose generosity had been supporting their children's educational opportunities. My $20 contribution tonight represents what I could give publicly while maintaining the privacy that allows me to work effectively in this community, Sarah said clearly, her voice carrying across the surrounding tables. Some families choose to display their wealth, while others prefer to contribute quietly. Both approaches can support education, but neither justifies treating people differently based on assumptions about their financial circumstances. The response was both gracious and pointed, acknowledging the social dynamics that had created the evening's conflict, while maintaining dignity despite the public humiliation she had endured. Sarah was using this moment to teach important lessons about assumptions, respect, and the difference between public display and private generosity. The applause that followed Sarah's statement was sustained and genuine, representing recognition not just of her financial contribution, but of her character and the grace with which she had handled an unnecessarily cruel situation. Parents who had witnessed Victoria's earlier behavior understood that they had seen someone demonstrate real class under pressure. Principal Richardson invited Sarah to join him on stage for proper recognition of her transformative contribution to the school community. The walk from her back corner table to the front of the gymnasium represented a complete reversal of the social positioning that had governed the entire evening, elevating the woman who had been dismissed and ridiculed to the place of highest honor. The standing ovation that greeted Sarah's appearance on stage reflected genuine respect for both her generosity and her dignified response to public humiliation. Even parents who had been entertained by Victoria's cruel performance earlier in the evening now understood that they had witnessed something shameful rather than amusing. Mrs. Martinez's contribution will provide full scholarships for 10 deserving students over the next 5 years, Principal Richardson announced, ensuring that Westfield Academy continues to attract and support talented young people regardless of their family's financial circumstances. The practical impact of Sarah's donation was substantial and meaningful, creating opportunities for multiple families while supporting the school's mission of educational excellence. Her generosity would have lasting effects that extended far beyond the social drama of a single evening's fundraising event. Emma joined her mother on stage, her expression showing pride, surprise, and deep appreciation for the sacrifices and choices that had shaped her educational opportunities. The reunion between mother and daughter in front of the assembled community represented the successful conclusion of a long-term strategy that had prioritized Emma's character development over social positioning. "I want everyone to understand," Sarah said into the microphone, addressing the full gathering for the first time that evening, "that this donation represents my belief in education's power to create opportunities, not a response to tonight's unfortunate social dynamics." Emma earned her scholarship to Westfield Academy through her own merit, and every scholarship recipient deserves the same respect and recognition regardless of their family's financial circumstances. The message was clear and important, distinguishing between charity motivated by social pressure and philanthropy driven by genuine commitment to educational opportunity. Sarah was using her platform to advocate for other families who might face similar assumptions and treatment based on their apparent economic circumstances. Victoria Ashworth had retreated to her table, her earlier confidence completely shattered by the revelation that had transformed her moment of social triumph into public embarrassment. The woman she had chosen to humiliate for entertainment had demonstrated both greater wealth and greater character, leaving Victoria's own behavior exposed as cruel and inappropriate.
The remainder of the evening proceeded with a completely different energy as parents processed the lessons they had learned about assumptions, respect, and the difference between apparent circumstances and actual resources. Conversations at tables throughout the gymnasium focused on Sarah's dignity, Emma's achievements, and the importance of treating all community members with appropriate respect. Several parents approached Sarah after the formal program concluded, expressing appreciation for her generosity while apologizing for their earlier failure to intervene when Victoria had been conducting her cruel performance. Their recognition of their own complicity in allowing the humiliation to continue demonstrated some awareness of how social dynamics could enable inappropriate behavior. The evening concluded with Sarah and Emma leaving together, their relationship transformed by the revelation of their family's true circumstances, but strengthened by their shared values and mutual respect. The mother who had worked as a custodian to stay close to her daughter's education had demonstrated that real worth was measured by character and generosity rather than social positioning or public display. 1 month later, Sarah resigned from her custodial position at Westfield Academy and established the Martinez Foundation for Educational Opportunity, dedicated to providing scholarships and support for students whose families faced financial barriers to quality education. The foundation's work extended beyond Westfield Academy to serve the broader Denver community, creating opportunities for hundreds of deserving students. Emma's senior year proceeded with new awareness of her family's resources, but unchanged commitment to her academic goals and community service. The full scholarships she had earned to prestigious universities were accepted based on her own merit, while her mother's foundation work inspired her to pursue studies in educational policy and social justice. Victoria Ashworth stepped down as PTA president the following month, citing personal reasons that everyone understood were related to her social miscalculation at the gala. Her replacement was a mother who prioritized inclusive community building over social hierarchy, creating a more welcoming environment for families regardless of their financial circumstances. The story of Sarah Martinez became part of Westfield Academy's community culture, serving as a reminder about the importance of treating all families with respect and the danger of making assumptions based on apparent circumstances. The woman who had been ridiculed for her $20 contribution had taught an entire community about dignity, generosity, and the true meaning of supporting education. Years later, the scholarship recipients supported by Sarah's anonymous donation would remember her not as a wealthy benefactor, but as someone who understood that education's transformative power should be accessible to everyone willing to work hard and pursue their dreams. Her legacy was measured not in dollars donated, but in lives changed and opportunities created for deserving students who might otherwise have been overlooked. The crumpled $20 bill that had fallen to the gymnasium floor during that humiliating confrontation had been preserved by Principal Richardson as a reminder that real generosity comes in many forms, and that judging people by their apparent circumstances rather than their character reveals more about the observer than the observed. The evening that began with cruel humiliation had ended with important lessons about respect, assumptions, and the true meaning of community support for education. 3 weeks after the gala revelation, Sarah Martinez sat in the pristine conference room of Coleman, Bradford & Associates, Denver's most prestigious wealth management firm, reviewing documents that would fundamentally change how she approached her philanthropic mission. The mahogany table reflected the morning sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city's financial district, while her newly hired team of advisors presented strategies for maximizing the impact of her charitable foundation.
For the first time in 3 years, Sarah was dressed in clothing that reflected her actual financial status rather than the modest wardrobe she had maintained as part of her custodial disguise. The transformation in how Sarah presented herself to the world had been gradual but deliberate. The simple black dress she had worn to the gala had been replaced by a sophisticated navy suit that conveyed professional competence without ostentation. Her hair, previously pulled back in the practical style of a maintenance worker, was now styled in a way that commanded respect in boardrooms and foundation meetings. The change wasn't about embracing luxury or displaying wealth, but about ensuring that her appearance matched the authority she needed to effectively advocate for educational opportunities. Catherine Coleman, the senior partner who had agreed to oversee Sarah's foundation work, spread financial projections across the conference table that demonstrated the potential scope of the Martinez Foundation's impact over the next decade. At 55, Catherine possessed the kind of strategic thinking and ethical reputation that made her invaluable for philanthropic initiatives that prioritized substance over publicity. Her client list included several of Denver's most respected charitable organizations, and her approach to wealth management emphasized sustainable giving that created lasting change rather than temporary relief. Based on your current assets and projected investment returns, Catherine explained, pointing to detailed charts that outlined various scenarios for foundation growth, we can structure the Martinez Foundation to provide full scholarships for approximately 40 students annually while maintaining sufficient reserves for program expansion and administrative costs. The numbers Catherine was presenting exceeded Sarah's most optimistic projections for the foundation's potential impact. 40 full scholarships per year would transform educational opportunities for hundreds of deserving students over the coming decades, creating ripple effects that would benefit entire families and communities. The scale of change that was possible through strategic philanthropy was both exciting and overwhelming. Sarah studied the financial models while considering the practical implications of operating a foundation with such ambitious goals. The Martinez Foundation would require professional staff, comprehensive application processes, student support systems, and ongoing monitoring to ensure that scholarship recipients received the guidance they needed to succeed academically and professionally. The complexity of effective philanthropy was far greater than simply writing checks to deserving students. What kind of infrastructure will we need to support 40 scholarship recipients annually? Sarah asked, understanding that successful educational philanthropy required much more than financial assistance. I recommend starting with a comprehensive support model that includes academic mentoring, career guidance, and family assistance programs, Catherine replied, opening a folder that contained examples of successful scholarship programs from around the country. Students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds often need more than tuition support to succeed at elite institutions. They benefit from mentorship programs, internship opportunities, and connections to professional networks that many of their peers take for granted. The holistic approach Catherine was describing aligned perfectly with Sarah's understanding of the challenges faced by Emma, who had navigated Westfield Academy's social hierarchies while maintaining academic excellence despite perceived financial limitations. Effective scholarship programs needed to address not just economic barriers, but also the cultural and social obstacles that could prevent talented students from reaching their full potential. Michael Bradford, Catherine's younger partner who specialized in educational philanthropy, presented research about best practices for scholarship program design and implementation. His analysis included data from foundations across the country that had successfully supported low-income students through college and into professional careers. The information was both encouraging and sobering, demonstrating that well-designed programs could achieve remarkable success rates, while poorly structured initiatives often failed to provide meaningful long-term benefits. The most successful scholarship programs combined financial support with comprehensive mentoring and professional development opportunities, Michael explained, showing statistics that compared outcomes for students who received different types of assistance. Recipients who have access to mentors, internship programs, and professional networks are significantly more likely to graduate from college and establish successful careers than those who receive only tuition assistance. The research Michael was presenting reinforced Sarah's instinct that effective philanthropy required sustained engagement rather than one-time financial contributions. The Martinez Foundation would need to build relationships with scholarship recipients that extended throughout their college years and into their professional lives, creating a supportive community that helped talented students navigate challenges and maximize opportunities. Sarah's phone buzzed with a text message from Emma, who is currently visiting Princeton University as part of her college selection process. The message included a photo of the campus library where Emma was studying with current students who had helped her understand the academic culture and social dynamics that would shape her undergraduate experience. Emma's scholarship offers from multiple prestigious universities had given her choices that most students could only dream about, but the process of selecting the right fit remained complex and important. The relationship between Sarah and Emma had evolved significantly since the gala revelation about their family's true financial circumstances. Emma's initial surprise had quickly given way to admiration for her mother's commitment to maintaining their modest lifestyle while secretly supporting educational opportunities for other families. The discovery that their financial struggles had been carefully constructed fiction rather than economic reality had recontextualized Emma's entire childhood experience,
but it had also deepened her appreciation for the values that had shaped her character. Emma's college selection process was being approached with the same thoughtful consideration that had characterized her mother's approach to philanthropy. Rather than choosing based on prestige or social status, Emma was evaluating universities based on their environmental science programs, research opportunities, and community service initiatives. Her decision would be influenced by where she could make the greatest contribution to addressing climate change and environmental justice issues, not by which institution would provide the most impressive degree for social positioning. Catherine returned the conversation to foundation planning by presenting organizational structures that would ensure the Martinez Foundation operated with maximum efficiency and transparency. Her recommendations included establishing an independent board of directors, implementing rigorous application and selection processes, and creating accountability measures that would track scholarship recipients' progress and outcomes over time. The professional approach she was outlining would position the foundation as a respected institution within Denver's philanthropic community. I also recommend that you consider establishing partnership agreements with other educational institutions beyond Westfield Academy, Catherine suggested, presenting research about private school scholarship programs throughout the Denver metropolitan area. Your foundation could have broader impact by supporting deserving students at multiple schools while also creating opportunities for collaboration with other philanthropic organizations. The suggestion to expand beyond Westfield Academy appealed to Sarah's desire to create systemic change rather than focusing exclusively on one institution. While her experience at Westfield had motivated the foundation's creation, the principles underlying her philanthropic mission applied to educational opportunities throughout the region. Talented students faced financial barriers at many schools, and the Martinez Foundation could address those challenges more comprehensively through strategic partnerships and broader geographic focus.
Sarah's assistant, Jennifer Walsh, entered the conference room carrying documents that had arrived from several educational institutions interested in partnership opportunities with the Martinez Foundation. Word about Sarah's philanthropic initiative had spread quickly through Denver's nonprofit community, generating interest from organizations that shared her commitment to expanding educational access for economically disadvantaged students. The attention was both gratifying and slightly overwhelming, requiring careful evaluation to ensure that partnerships aligned with the foundation's mission and values. Jennifer had been hired specifically to help manage the administrative demands of foundation work while protecting Sarah's privacy and family time. At 28, Jennifer possessed the organizational skills and diplomatic instincts necessary to coordinate between educational institutions, scholarship applicants, and foundation board members, while maintaining the professional standards that would ensure the Martinez Foundation's long-term credibility and effectiveness. Lincoln Preparatory Academy has submitted a formal partnership proposal, Jennifer reported, handing Sarah a comprehensive document that outlined how the Martinez Foundation could support scholarship programs at Denver's oldest private school for students of color. They're particularly interested in collaborating on mentorship programs that would connect scholarship recipients with successful professionals in various fields. The partnership opportunity with Lincoln Preparatory Academy represented exactly the kind of strategic collaboration that could amplify the Martinez Foundation's impact while supporting institutions with proven track records of developing young leaders from underrepresented communities. Lincoln Prep had been serving Denver's African American and Latino communities for over 60 years, creating pathways to college and professional success for thousands of students who might not have found such opportunities elsewhere. Michael Bradford reviewed the Lincoln Prep proposal while explaining the potential benefits and challenges of multi-institutional partnerships. His analysis suggested that collaboration with established schools could provide the Martinez Foundation with valuable expertise about effective student support systems while expanding the pool of deserving scholarship recipients beyond any single institution's applicant base. Lincoln Prep has particularly strong programs in STEM education and college preparation, Michael noted, pointing to statistics about their graduate success rates at competitive universities. Partnership with them could help the Martinez Foundation identify students who would benefit from both financial support and the kind of comprehensive mentoring programs that Catherine described earlier. The possibility of supporting STEM education especially appealed to Sarah, who understood from her own experience in software development how technology skills could create economic opportunities for students from modest backgrounds.
Her patent success had been built on technical knowledge that she had acquired through scholarship programs and student employment during college, demonstrating how educational support could create transformative career possibilities for motivated students. Catherine presented legal documents that would formalize the Martinez Foundation's nonprofit status while establishing governance structures that would ensure ethical operation and public accountability. The paperwork was extensive and complex, reflecting the regulatory requirements that governed charitable organizations and tax-exempt institutions. Sarah's signature on these documents would create legal obligations and fiduciary responsibilities that extended far beyond writing checks to deserving students. The board of directors structure I'm recommending includes representation from education, business, and community service sectors, Catherine explained, showing organizational charts that outlined how foundation governance would be distributed among multiple stakeholders. This approach ensures that decision-making reflects diverse perspectives while maintaining focus on your core mission of expanding educational opportunities. The governance model Catherine was proposing would prevent the Martinez Foundation from becoming a personal charity that reflected only Sarah's preferences and opinions. By including educators, business leaders, and community activists on the board, the foundation would benefit from expertise about student needs, professional development opportunities, and social justice issues that could enhance the effectiveness of scholarship programs and support services. Sarah's phone rang with a call from Principal Richardson at Westfield Academy, who had been coordinating with other school administrators about the foundation's potential partnerships and program designs. The conversation that followed provided updates about current scholarship recipients while exploring how the Martinez Foundation could complement existing financial aid programs without duplicating services or creating administrative complications. The response to your foundation announcement has been remarkable, Principal Richardson reported, his enthusiasm evident even through the phone connection. We've received inquiries from families throughout the region who are interested in scholarship opportunities, and several other schools have expressed interest in developing partnership programs based on your model. The widespread interest in Martinez Foundation programs was gratifying, but also required careful management to ensure that the organization's resources were deployed effectively rather than being overwhelmed by demand that exceeded capacity. Sarah was learning that successful philanthropy required strategic thinking about sustainable growth and realistic goal setting, not just generous intentions and available funding. Principal Richardson also provided updates about Victoria Ashworth's replacement as PTA president and the changes in school culture that had followed the gala incident. The new parent leadership was actively working to create more inclusive community events and fundraising approaches that respected family privacy while encouraging broad participation in school activities. The social dynamics that had enabled Victoria's cruel behavior were being addressed through policy changes and cultural shifts that prioritized respect over hierarchy. After concluding the call with Principal Richardson, Sarah returned her attention to foundation planning documents while considering the long-term implications of the philanthropic commitments she was about to formalize. The Martinez Foundation would become a permanent institution that would outlast her own involvement, potentially supporting educational opportunities for generations of students who would never know her personally but would benefit from the principles and programs she was establishing. Jennifer presented a preliminary schedule for foundation launch activities, including community meetings where Sarah would explain the organization's mission and application processes to families who might benefit from scholarship opportunities. The public appearances would require Sarah to embrace a level of visibility that was completely different from the anonymous approach she had maintained while working at Westfield Academy, but they were necessary for ensuring that deserving students learned about available opportunities. The community meetings will be held at public libraries and community centers throughout the Denver area, Jennifer explained, showing locations that had been selected to ensure geographic and economic diversity among potential applicants. We're partnering with existing organizations that serve low-income families to help spread awareness about scholarship opportunities and application deadlines. The grassroots approach to foundation outreach reflected Sarah's commitment to reaching students who might not learn about scholarship opportunities through traditional channels or school-based programs. Many families who could benefit from Martinez Foundation support might not have connections to private school communities or college preparation resources, requiring proactive efforts to ensure that information about available assistance reached them. Catherine presented final recommendations about foundation investment strategies that would ensure sustainable funding for scholarship programs while protecting against economic downturns that could threaten program continuity. Her approach emphasized conservative growth that would preserve principal while generating sufficient income to support increasing numbers of scholarship recipients over time. The financial planning was designed to create a permanent endowment that could operate indefinitely rather than depleting resources through overly ambitious initial programs. Based on conservative investment projections, the Martinez Foundation should be able to increase scholarship support by approximately 10% annually while maintaining sufficient reserves for economic uncertainties, Catherine explained, showing charts that illustrated various scenarios for foundation growth over the next 20 years. This approach ensures that current scholarship recipients receive consistent support while creating opportunities for expanding programs in the future. The sustainable approach Catherine was recommending aligned with Sarah's desire to create lasting impact rather than dramatic but short-lived assistance programs. The foundation would be designed to support students throughout their college years and into their professional development, requiring long-term financial commitments that could only be maintained through careful planning and conservative management. Principal Richardson also provided updates about Victoria Ashworth's replacement as PTA president and the changes in school culture that had followed the gala incident. The new parent leadership was actively working to create more inclusive community events and fundraising approaches that respected family privacy while encouraging broad participation in school activities. The social dynamics that had enabled Victoria's cruel behavior were being addressed through policy changes and cultural shifts that prioritized respect over hierarchy. After concluding the call with Principal Richardson, Sarah returned her attention to foundation planning documents while considering the long-term implications of the philanthropic commitments she was about to formalize. The Martinez Foundation would become a permanent institution that would outlast her own involvement, potentially supporting educational opportunities for generations of students who would never know her personally but would benefit from the principles and programs she was establishing. Jennifer presented a preliminary schedule for foundation launch activities, including community meetings where Sarah would explain the organization's mission and application processes to families who might benefit from scholarship opportunities. The public appearances would require Sarah to embrace a level of visibility that was completely different from the anonymous approach she had maintained while working at Westfield Academy, but they were necessary for ensuring that deserving students learned about available opportunities. The community meetings will be held at public libraries and community centers throughout the Denver area, Jennifer explained, showing locations that had been selected to ensure geographic and economic diversity among potential applicants. We're partnering with existing organizations that serve low-income families to help spread awareness about scholarship opportunities and application deadlines. The grassroots approach to foundation outreach reflected Sarah's commitment to reaching students who might not learn about scholarship opportunities through traditional channels or school-based programs. Many families who could benefit from Martinez Foundation support might not have connections to private school communities or college preparation resources, requiring proactive efforts to ensure that information about available assistance.
Sarah signed the documents that would officially establish the Martinez Foundation as a legal entity with tax-exempt status and formal governance structures. The moment felt both ceremonial and practical, representing the transition from personal philanthropy to institutional commitment. The foundation would now exist independently of Sarah's direct involvement, with professional staff and board oversight ensuring that scholarship programs continued even if her circumstances or priorities changed in the future. Michael Bradford presented marketing materials that would be used to promote foundation programs and attract qualified applicants from throughout the Denver area. The brochures and website content emphasized merit-based selection, comprehensive support services, and long-term commitment to student success. The messaging was designed to attract serious applicants while managing expectations about the competitive nature of scholarship selection and the responsibilities that came with foundation support. We want to be clear that Martinez Foundation scholarships are not just financial assistance, but partnerships that require active engagement from recipients, Michael explained, showing examples of student contracts that outlined academic expectations, community service requirements, and mentoring participation. This approach ensures that scholarship recipients understand their obligations while creating accountability measures that support academic success. The structured approach to scholarship programs would help ensure that foundation resources were invested in students who were committed to maximizing their educational opportunities while contributing to their communities. The requirements were designed to support student success rather than create unnecessary barriers, but they would help identify applicants who possessed the motivation and character necessary to benefit fully from comprehensive educational support. Jennifer announced that the first community information meeting was scheduled for the following week at the Montbello Community Center, serving families in one of Denver's most economically diverse neighborhoods. The location had been selected because of its accessibility to public transportation and its reputation as a welcoming space for families from various cultural and economic backgrounds. The meeting would provide Sarah with her first opportunity to explain the foundation's mission directly to families who might benefit from scholarship programs. Preparing for the community meeting required Sarah to develop presentation skills and public speaking confidence that she had never needed during her years of anonymous philanthropy. The transition from secret donor to public foundation leader required personal growth that was both challenging and necessary for effectively advocating for educational opportunities. Sarah was learning that leadership in philanthropy demanded visibility and communication skills that complemented financial resources and good intentions. Catherine's team had prepared comprehensive background information about educational challenges facing low-income families throughout the Denver area, including statistics about college enrollment rates, student debt levels, and career outcomes for graduates from different economic backgrounds. The data provided context for foundation programs while demonstrating the potential impact of well-designed scholarship initiatives on individual students and broader community development. Students from families earning less than $50,000 annually are significantly less likely to attend college, even when they demonstrate strong academic potential, Michael explained, showing research that illustrated how financial barriers affect educational access throughout Colorado. The Martinez Foundation can address these disparities by providing not just tuition assistance, but comprehensive support that helps students navigate cultural and social challenges that often accompany economic disadvantage. The research Michael was presenting reinforced Sarah's understanding that effective scholarship programs needed to address multiple barriers rather than focusing exclusively on financial assistance. Many talented students from low-income families possessed the academic ability to succeed at competitive institutions, but lacked the cultural knowledge, social connections, and professional guidance that could help them navigate college environments and career development opportunities. Sarah's reflection on her own educational journey provided personal insight into the challenges faced by students from modest backgrounds who attend elite institutions. Her success in software development had been facilitated by mentors who helped her understand professional expectations and industry dynamics that weren't obvious to someone without family connections in technology fields. The Martinez Foundation could provide similar guidance for scholarship recipients pursuing various career paths. The afternoon brought a visit from Dr. Maria Santos, the Director of Student Services at Metropolitan State University, who was interested in developing partnership programs that would support Martinez Foundation scholarship recipients who chose to attend public institutions rather than private colleges. Dr. Santos had extensive experience working with first-generation college students and understood the unique challenges faced by talented students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Many of our most successful students are those who received comprehensive support during their transition to college life, Dr. Santos explained, presenting data about retention and graduation rates for students who participated in mentoring programs compared to those who received only financial assistance. The Martinez Foundation's holistic approach could significantly improve outcomes for students who choose Metropolitan State or other public universities. The partnership opportunity with Metropolitan State appealed to Sarah because it would ensure that foundation programs served students regardless of their college preferences or career goals. While private institutions offered certain advantages, many excellent students would choose public universities for various reasons, and they deserved equal access to mentoring and professional development opportunities regardless of their institutional choices. Dr. Santos presented specific proposals for collaboration between the Martinez Foundation and Metropolitan State's existing support programs for low-income students. Her suggestions included joint mentoring initiatives, professional development workshops, and internship programs that would connect scholarship recipients with career opportunities in various fields. The partnership would leverage existing university resources while providing enhanced support for Martinez scholars.
Catherine reviewed partnership proposals from Dr. Santos while explaining how collaboration with public institutions could expand the foundation's impact without significantly increasing administrative costs. The partnership model would allow the Martinez Foundation to serve more students while benefiting from established university support systems and professional networks that could enhance scholarship recipients' educational and career outcomes. Partnerships with public institutions also demonstrate the Foundation's commitment to serving students regardless of their college choices, Catherine noted, emphasizing how institutional diversity would strengthen the Foundation's reputation and community relationships. Some of the most talented scholarship recipients might prefer public universities for financial, academic, or personal reasons, and they should receive equal support for their educational goals. The inclusive approach Catherine was describing aligned with Sarah's belief that scholarship programs should empower students to make choices based on their individual goals and preferences rather than directing them toward particular institutions or career paths. The Martinez Foundation would support student success wherever their talents and interests led them, whether to prestigious private colleges or excellent public universities. Sarah's consideration of partnership opportunities was interrupted by a call from Emma, who was completing her college visits and preparing to make her final decision about where to spend the next 4 years.
Emma's voice carried excitement about the academic opportunities she had discovered at Princeton, along with appreciation for the environmental research programs that would allow her to pursue her passion for addressing climate change through scientific innovation. The Environmental Engineering Department has incredible research facilities, Emma reported enthusiastically, describing laboratories and field study opportunities that would provide hands-on experience with renewable energy technologies and environmental remediation projects. I met with Professor Williams, who leads the Sustainable Energy Research Group, and she thinks I could contribute to projects that are already making real-world impact. Emma's enthusiasm about Princeton's academic opportunities reflected her continued focus on substantive achievement rather than social prestige or status considerations. Her college selection was being driven by the same values that had shaped her high school experience: commitment to meaningful work, environmental stewardship, and using her talents to benefit broader communities. The revelation about her family's wealth hadn't changed her fundamental priorities or character. The conversation with Emma reminded Sarah that the Martinez Foundation's ultimate purpose was creating opportunities for students like her daughter to pursue their passions and develop their talents regardless of economic circumstances. While Emma had benefited from scholarship opportunities that weren't dependent on family financial need, many equally talented students faced barriers that prevented them from accessing similar educational resources and research opportunities. After completing the call with Emma, Sarah returned her attention to foundation planning while considering how scholarship programs could be designed to identify and support students with Emma's combination of academic ability, personal character, and commitment to using their education for positive social impact. The selection criteria would need to recognize not just academic achievement, but also leadership potential and community engagement that indicated scholarship recipients would maximize their educational opportunities. Jennifer presented preliminary applications from students interested in Martinez Foundation scholarships, including high school juniors who were beginning college preparation and recent immigrants who needed support for English language development alongside academic advancement. The diversity of applicants demonstrated the broad need for educational assistance, while highlighting the importance of flexible program designs that could accommodate different student circumstances and goals. Several applicants are students whose families have been affected by recent economic challenges, Jennifer reported, explaining how job losses and housing instability had created new barriers for families who had previously been financially stable. These students often need emergency assistance along with traditional scholarship support to maintain their academic progress while their families recover from economic setbacks. The emergency assistance needs Jennifer was describing illustrated how economic instability could quickly transform educational opportunities for talented students whose families faced unexpected challenges. The Martinez Foundation might need to develop programs that provided immediate support for students facing crisis situations, along with traditional scholarship programs for those planning college attendance several years in advance. Catherine recommended establishing both emergency assistance funds and traditional scholarship programs to address the different types of educational challenges faced by students throughout the Denver area.
The dual approach would ensure that the foundation could respond to immediate crises while maintaining sustainable long-term programs that supported students through college completion and into professional careers. Emergency assistance programs require different administrative structures than traditional scholarships, Catherine explained, showing examples of foundations that successfully operated both types of support systems. Emergency funds need rapid response capabilities and flexible criteria, while traditional scholarships benefit from comprehensive application processes and long-term monitoring systems. The operational complexity Catherine was describing would require careful planning and sufficient staff resources to ensure that both emergency and traditional programs operated effectively without creating administrative conflicts or resource allocation problems. The Martinez Foundation would need to develop expertise in crisis response along with the long-term relationship management that characterized successful scholarship programs. Sarah's review of foundation planning documents was interrupted by a text message from Principal Richardson, who was forwarding a newspaper article about the Martinez Foundation that had been published in the Denver Post's education section. The article described Sarah's transition from anonymous donor to public philanthropist, while highlighting the foundation's comprehensive approach to educational support. The media attention was generally positive, but represented a level of public scrutiny that was completely different from the privacy Sarah had maintained during her years at Westfield Academy. The newspaper article included quotes from several Westfield Academy parents who had witnessed the gala incident and appreciated Sarah's gracious response to Victoria Ashworth's cruel behavior. Their comments emphasized Sarah's dignity and character rather than focusing exclusively on her financial contributions, suggesting that the community had learned important lessons about respect and assumptions based on apparent circumstances. Catherine reviewed the media coverage while explaining how public attention could benefit foundation fundraising and outreach efforts, while also creating expectations for transparency and accountability that would influence foundation operations. The visibility that came with effective philanthropy was both an asset and a responsibility that required careful management to maintain focus on educational programs rather than personal recognition or social positioning. Positive media coverage can help attract additional donors and volunteers who want to support the foundation's mission. However, public attention also requires comprehensive record-keeping and reporting systems that demonstrate responsible use of donated funds and effective program outcomes. The accountability requirements Catherine was describing would ensure that the Martinez Foundation operated with the highest standards of transparency and effectiveness, but they would also require significant administrative resources and professional expertise. Sarah was learning that public philanthropy involved complex operational challenges that were completely different from private charitable giving or ignoramus donations. Michael Bradford presented staffing recommendations for foundation operations, including hiring professional educators who could oversee scholarship selection and student support programs. His analysis suggested that effective educational philanthropy required specialized knowledge about student development, college preparation, and career guidance that complemented financial resources and good intentions. I recommend hiring at least 2 full-time education specialists who have experience working with low-income students and college preparation programs, Michael suggested, showing job descriptions and salary ranges for positions that would ensure professional oversight of foundation programs. The effective staffing Michael was recommending would significantly increase foundation operating costs while ensuring that scholarship programs delivered maximum benefit for student recipients. Sarah understood that effective philanthropy required investment in administrative infrastructure along with direct assistance for students, but the complexity and expensive professional operations were greater than she had initially anticipated. Jennifer presented a timeline for foundation launch activities that would introduce programs to the community while ensuring adequate preparation for managing applications and selecting scholarship recipients. The schedule included community meetings, partnership negotiations with educational institutions, staff hiring, and program development activities that would extend over several months before the first scholarships could be awarded. The community meeting next week will be our first public presentation of foundation programs, Jennifer explained, showing presentation materials and informational brochures that would be distributed to potential applicants and their families. The community meeting would represent Sarah's transition from private donor to public foundation leader, requiring presentation skills and community engagement that were completely different from the anonymous approach she had maintained for years. The event would also provide valuable feedback about community needs and program designs that could influence foundation policies and selection criteria.
Catherine concluded the afternoon meeting by reviewing legal documents that would finalize foundation establishment while ensuring compliance with federal and state regulations governing charitable organizations.
Her explanation of regulatory requirements emphasized the importance of maintaining detailed records and following established procedures for scholarship selection and fund management. The legal obligations were substantial, but necessary for ensuring foundation credibility and long-term sustainability. The legal framework we're establishing will protect the foundation's tax-exempt status while ensuring accountability to donors, scholarship recipients, and regulatory agencies, Catherine explained, pointing to specific provisions that addressed conflict of interest policies, financial reporting requirements, and program evaluation standards. These systems might seem burdensome initially, but they're essential for maintaining public trust and foundation effectiveness. The regulatory compliance Catherine was describing would require ongoing attention and professional expertise, but it would also ensure that the Martinez Foundation operated with the highest standards of integrity and effectiveness. Sarah understood that public philanthropy involved responsibilities and obligations that extended far beyond her personal charitable preferences or family values. As the meeting concluded, Sarah reflected on the transformation that had occurred in her life since the gala incident 3 weeks earlier. The woman who had worked as a custodian while secretly supporting educational opportunities was now establishing a professional foundation with comprehensive programs and public accountability. The change represented both personal growth and expanding responsibility for creating educational opportunities throughout the Denver community. The drive home from the wealth management office provided Sarah with time to process the complexity and potential impact of the foundation programs she was about to launch. The Martinez Foundation would serve hundreds of students over the coming decades while creating a permanent institution dedicated to expanding educational access for economically disadvantaged families. The scope of change that was possible through strategic philanthropy was both inspiring and overwhelming. Emma's text message about her final college decision arrived as Sarah was parking in her driveway, bringing news that Princeton had been selected over the other excellent options available to her. Emma's choice was based on the environmental research opportunities and academic resources that would best support her goals for addressing climate change through scientific innovation. The decision reflected the same thoughtful consideration and value-based priorities that had characterized her approach to education throughout high school. The evening brought a quiet family dinner where Sarah and Emma discussed foundation plans alongside Emma's college preparation activities. Their conversation reflected the changed dynamics of their relationship while maintaining the close connection and shared values that had always characterized their family. The revelation about their financial circumstances had created new possibilities without fundamentally altering their commitment to education, community service, and meaningful achievement. Emma's enthusiasm about foundation programs was genuine and informed, reflecting her understanding of the challenges faced by talented students from modest backgrounds. Her own experience as a scholarship recipient at Westfield Academy had provided insight into the social and cultural barriers that could affect student success even when financial assistance was available. Emma's perspective would be valuable for developing foundation programs that addressed multiple challenges rather than focusing exclusively on tuition costs. I hope the foundation can provide mentoring programs like the one that helped me navigate Westfield's social dynamics, Emma suggested, recalling the guidance she had received from older students and sympathetic teachers who understood the challenges faced by scholarship recipients. Academic ability is important, but students also need help understanding the cultural expectations and social skills that affect success at competitive institutions. Emma's observation about the importance of cultural guidance alongside financial assistance reinforced Sarah's conviction that effective scholarship programs required comprehensive support systems rather than simple tuition payments. The Martinez Foundation would need to address social integration, professional development, and personal confidence building that would help scholarship recipients succeed in environments where many of their peers possessed advantages that extended beyond academic preparation.
The family's discussion of foundation programs continued into the evening, with Emma contributing ideas about student selection criteria, mentoring structures, and community outreach strategies that reflected her firsthand experience with educational challenges and opportunities. Her input would be valuable for ensuring that foundation programs remained focused on student needs, rather than donor preferences or administrative convenience. Sarah's preparation for the community meeting the following week involved reviewing presentation materials while practicing explanations of foundation programs that would be accessible to families with various educational backgrounds and English language abilities. The meeting would serve families throughout the Denver area, requiring communication strategies that respected cultural diversity while ensuring that information about scholarship opportunities reached all potential applicants effectively. The transition from anonymous donor to public foundation leader required personal growth that extended beyond financial planning and program development. Sarah was learning to embrace visibility and advocacy that were necessary for effective philanthropy while maintaining the values and priorities that had motivated her original commitment to educational opportunity. The Martinez Foundation represented both a culmination of her long-term charitable interests and a new chapter in her approach to creating positive change in her community. The Montbello Community Center buzzed with nervous energy as families filled folding chairs arranged in neat rows across the linoleum floor. Sarah Martinez stood behind the modest podium, adjusting the microphone while scanning faces that reflected hope, skepticism, and cautious optimism. The overhead fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across the room where she would make her first public appearance as the founder of the Martinez Foundation, addressing an audience of potential scholarship recipients and their families who had traveled from across Denver's most economically challenged neighborhoods. In the front row sat Maria Gonzalez, a single mother of three whose eldest daughter Sophia had been accepted to several prestigious universities but couldn't afford to attend any of them. Beside her was David Kim, whose family had immigrated from South Korea 5 years earlier and whose son James had demonstrated exceptional aptitude in mathematics despite struggling with English language barriers. The Rodriguez family occupied the third row, their youngest son Miguel having shown remarkable artistic talent that had caught the attention of his high school art teacher but would likely go undeveloped without financial support for specialized training. These families represented the demographic that Sarah had been working to serve through 3 years of anonymous donations, but tonight marked the first time she would face them directly as someone committed to changing their circumstances through systematic philanthropy. The weight of their expectations was both humbling and motivating, reminding Sarah that the foundation represented more than her personal charitable interests, but rather a community resource that could transform multiple generations of students. Jennifer Walsh distributed informational packets containing detailed explanations of scholarship criteria, application procedures, and support services that would be provided to Martinez Foundation recipients. The documents had been translated into Spanish, Vietnamese, and Somali to ensure accessibility for families whose primary language was not English. Each packet also included testimonials from current college students who had received similar support from other foundations, demonstrating the potential impact of comprehensive educational assistance. The presentation began with Sarah's personal story, carefully edited to emphasize her commitment to educational opportunity while protecting the privacy that allowed her family to live normally within their community. She explained her decision to work at Westfield Academy as a way to understand educational challenges firsthand and her motivation to establish the foundation based on her belief that talented students deserved opportunities regardless of their family's economic circumstances. Education has the power to change not just individual lives, but entire communities, Sarah said, her voice carrying clearly through the community center sound system.
The Martinez Foundation exists to ensure that financial barriers don't prevent deserving students from pursuing their dreams and developing their talents. The audience listened intently as Sarah outlined the Foundation's comprehensive approach to student support, which would include not only tuition assistance, but also mentoring programs, professional development opportunities, and family support services. Several parents exchanged glances of surprise as they processed the scope of assistance being offered, having expected traditional scholarship programs that provided only financial aid without ongoing guidance or community building. Dr. Patricia Williams, the Foundation's newly hired Director of Student Services, joined Sarah at the podium to explain the application process and selection criteria that would govern scholarship awards. Dr. Williams brought 15 years of experience working with first-generation college students at Community College of Denver, along with expertise in program development that would ensure Martinez Foundation scholarships created lasting impact rather than temporary relief. We're looking for students who demonstrate academic potential, personal character, and commitment to using their education for positive community impact, Dr. Williams explained, showing slides that illustrated the holistic evaluation process that would consider family circumstances alongside individual achievement. Financial need is important, but we're equally interested in finding young people who will maximize their educational opportunities and eventually give back to their communities. The selection criteria Dr. Williams was describing balanced merit-based achievement with consideration for students whose circumstances had limited their opportunities to demonstrate traditional academic excellence. The foundation would recognize potential alongside performance, understanding that many talented students from low-income families hadn't had access to advanced courses, test preparation, or extracurricular activities that could showcase their abilities. Questions from the audience revealed both the sophistication of their understanding about educational challenges and the depth of their hope for their children's futures. Parents asked about college selection guidance, professional networking opportunities, and support for students who might struggle with the cultural transition from working-class communities to elite academic environments. Their questions demonstrated awareness that successful college completion required more than financial assistance. Miguel Rodriguez's mother asked about support for artistic education, explaining that her son had been creating murals and sculptures since childhood, but that their family lacked connections to art schools or professional artists who could guide his development. Her question highlighted how talent in non-traditional academic areas often went unrecognized or undeveloped in families without cultural capital or professional networks in creative fields. Sarah's response emphasized the foundation's commitment to supporting diverse talents and career paths, not just traditional academic achievement or prestigious professional fields. The Martinez Foundation would connect scholarship recipients with mentors in various industries, including arts, technology, healthcare, and social services, ensuring that students could explore multiple career possibilities while receiving guidance from professionals who understood their chosen fields. James Kim's father asked about language support for families whose English skills might limit their ability to navigate college bureaucracies or understand financial aid processes. His question reflected a common challenge faced by immigrant families whose children possessed academic ability but whose parents struggled to provide guidance about American educational systems or professional expectations. Dr. Williams explained the family support services that would be provided alongside student scholarships, including translation assistance, college preparation workshops for parents, and cultural liaison programs that helped families understand educational expectations and opportunities. The comprehensive approach recognized that student success often depended on family engagement and support systems that extended beyond individual achievement. The evening's most emotional moment came when Sofia Gonzalez stood to ask about support for students whose families had experienced economic instability that affected their academic records. Her voice trembled slightly as she explained that her grades had suffered during her sophomore year when her family had been evicted from their apartment and she had missed weeks of school while they searched for new housing. "I know my transcript isn't perfect," Sophia said, her determination evident despite her nervousness, "but I've worked hard to bring my grades back up, and I really want to study social work so I can help other families who are going through what we experienced." Sarah's response to Sophia's question captured the foundation's philosophy about recognizing potential and resilience alongside traditional academic metrics. The Martinez Foundation would evaluate applicants' circumstances along with their achievements, understanding that many deserving students had faced challenges that temporarily affected their academic performance but demonstrated character and determination that predict future success. Your commitment to overcoming challenges while maintaining focus on your educational goals tells us more about your potential than any single semester's grades, Sarah replied, her words creating visible relief among several parents who had worried that their children's circumstances might disqualify them from consideration. The foundation exists specifically to support students like you who have demonstrated resilience and determination despite facing significant obstacles. The presentation concluded with information about application deadlines, required documentation, and interview processes that would help foundation staff understand each applicant's circumstances and goals.
Dr. Williams emphasized that the application was designed to be accessible rather than overwhelming, with support available for families who needed assistance completing paperwork or gathering required materials. Community response to the Martinez Foundation presentation exceeded Sarah's most optimistic expectations, with over 200 families expressing interest in scholarship opportunities and dozens volunteering to serve as mentors or program supporters. The enthusiasm was gratifying, but also required immediate expansion of Foundation staff and resources to manage the volume of applications and coordinate support services for potential recipients. Jennifer Walsh spent the following week coordinating with community organizations that had offered to help spread information about Foundation programs to families who might not have attended the initial meeting. The Latino Community Center, the Vietnamese American Association, and the Somali Community Organization all volunteered to host additional information sessions and provide translation services for families who needed assistance with application processes. The partnership approach to community outreach reflected Sarah's commitment to ensuring that scholarship opportunities reached students from all cultural and linguistic backgrounds represented in Denver's diverse population. Effective philanthropy required cultural competence and community relationships that extended beyond good intentions and adequate funding. Emma called from Princeton during her first week of classes to share her excitement about environmental engineering coursework and her participation in the university's Community Service Leadership Program. Her enthusiasm about college life was matched by her pride in her mother's foundation work and her eagerness to contribute to scholarship programs during future summer breaks and holidays. Professor Chen showed me the research lab where I'll be working on water purification projects, Emma reported, her voice carrying the excitement of someone who had found her intellectual passion. She thinks my undergraduate research could contribute to solutions for contaminated water systems in developing countries. Emma's academic success and personal growth validated Sarah's decision to maintain their modest lifestyle while secretly supporting her educational opportunities.
The young woman who had thrived at Westfield Academy despite perceived financial limitations was now flourishing at Princeton because she possessed character, work ethic, and genuine intellectual curiosity that couldn't be purchased or inherited. The conversation with Emma also included discussion of foundation programs and Emma's suggestions for connecting scholarship recipients with college students who could provide peer mentoring and guidance. Emma's perspective as a recent scholarship recipient would be valuable for developing support systems that address the social and cultural challenges that often accompanied academic transitions. Sarah's first month as a public philanthropist brought invitations to serve on nonprofit boards, speak at educational conferences, and participate in policy discussions about expanding college access for low-income students. The recognition was gratifying, but required careful consideration to ensure that her involvement in broader educational advocacy didn't distract from the Martinez Foundation's direct service programs. The Colorado Association of Educational Foundations invited Sarah to present her comprehensive scholarship model at their annual conference, recognizing the Martinez Foundation's innovative approach to student support as potentially influential for other philanthropic organizations. The speaking opportunity would provide a platform for advocating systemic changes in how scholarship programs were designed and implemented throughout the state. Sarah's acceptance of the speaking invitation reflected her growing comfort with public advocacy while maintaining focus on practical program implementation rather than seeking personal recognition or social positioning. The foundation's success would be measured by student outcomes rather than media attention or professional accolades. Application review for the first Martinez Foundation scholarships began 6 weeks after the community meeting, with Dr. Williams coordinating a selection committee that included educators, community leaders, and successful professionals who understood both academic potential and the challenges faced by students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. The review process was designed to be thorough but fair, recognizing diverse forms of merit while maintaining high standards for scholarship recipients. Sofia Gonzalez's application included letters of recommendation from teachers who praised her resilience and leadership abilities, alongside documentation of her family's housing instability and her own efforts to maintain academic progress despite significant challenges. Her personal essay about wanting to pursue social work demonstrated genuine commitment to using her education for community benefit rather than simply seeking economic advancement. James Kim's application showcased exceptional mathematical ability through his participation in statewide competitions despite English language challenges that had initially held back his academic performance. His teachers described remarkable progress in language skills alongside continued excellence in mathematics and science, suggesting significant potential for success in engineering or computer science fields. Miguel Rodriguez submitted a portfolio of artwork that demonstrated both natural talent and sophisticated understanding of artistic techniques he had developed through independent study and online tutorials. His pieces addressed social justice themes and community identity with maturity that impressed selection committee members who understood the challenges faced by young artists from non-artistic families. The diversity of talents and circumstances represented among qualified applicants reinforced Sarah's conviction that effective scholarship programs needed flexible criteria and comprehensive support systems rather than standardized metrics that might overlook deserving students whose abilities didn't fit traditional academic categories. Selection committee deliberations extended over 2 weeks as members carefully reviewed applications while considering how to balance individual merit with overall program goals for serving diverse student populations and career interests. The process was rigorous, but focused on identifying students who would benefit most from comprehensive educational support rather than simply rewarding existing advantage. 25 students were selected for the Martinez Foundation's inaugural scholarship class, representing diverse ethnic backgrounds, academic interests, and career goals that reflected the full spectrum of talent and potential present in Denver's economically disadvantaged communities. The group included future teachers, engineers, artists, healthcare workers, and social service professionals who would eventually contribute to community development in multiple sectors. Sofia Gonzalez received a full scholarship to attend Colorado State University's social work program, along with a mentorship connection to Maria Elena Vasquez, a successful social worker who had overcome similar challenges during her own educational journey. The mentorship would provide Sophia with professional guidance along with academic support, helping her navigate college life while preparing for career success. James Kim was awarded support for attending the University of Colorado's engineering program, with mentorship from Dr. Andrew Park, a Korean-American software engineer who understood both the academic challenges and cultural transitions that James would face during college. The mentorship connection would provide both professional guidance and cultural support that recognized James's specific circumstances and background. Miguel Rodriguez received a scholarship for attending the Colorado Institute of Art, along with mentorship from renowned sculptor David Martinez, whose public art installations throughout Denver had established him as a significant figure in the city's cultural community. The artistic mentorship would provide Miguel with professional connections and career guidance that his family couldn't offer despite their support for his creative development. The scholarship announcement ceremony was held at the Montbello Community Center, bringing together recipients, their families, mentors, and community supporters for a celebration that emphasized both individual achievement and collective commitment to educational opportunity. The event was designed to honor student accomplishments while building connections among scholarship recipients who would support each other throughout their college years. Principal Richardson attended the ceremony, representing Westfield Academy's continued partnership with the Martinez Foundation, bringing greetings from Emma, who was completing her first semester at Princeton with exceptional academic performance. His presence demonstrated how the foundation had transformed relationships between educational institutions and created new models for community collaboration. Dr. Williams presented each scholarship recipient with a comprehensive support package that included not only financial assistance, but detailed information about mentoring programs, summer internship opportunities, and professional development resources that would be available throughout their college years. The materials emphasized the foundation's long-term commitment to student success rather than simply providing initial assistance. Sarah's remarks during the ceremony focused on the responsibility that came with educational opportunity and the expectation that scholarship recipients would eventually contribute to their communities through their professional work and personal leadership. The message was both inspiring and challenging, emphasizing that foundation support created obligations alongside opportunities. Education is not just about personal advancement, but about developing the knowledge and skills necessary to address community challenges and create positive change, Sarah told the assembled families and students.
Each of you has been selected not only for your academic potential, but for your commitment to using that potential in service of something larger than yourselves. The ceremony concluded with scholarship recipients signing commitment agreements that outlined their responsibilities for maintaining academic progress, participating in mentoring programs, and contributing volunteer service to community organizations. The agreements created accountability while fostering connections between education and community engagement that would continue throughout their professional lives. Media coverage of the scholarship ceremony brought statewide attention to the Martinez Foundation's comprehensive approach to educational philanthropy, generating inquiries from other communities interested in developing similar programs. The positive publicity created opportunities for expanding foundation influence, while requiring careful management to maintain focus on direct service rather than media relations. The Denver Post's education reporter wrote a feature article about the Martinez Foundation that included interviews with scholarship recipients and their families, highlighting how comprehensive support systems could transform educational outcomes for students who possessed talent but lacked resources.
The article emphasized the Foundation's innovative mentorship programs and family support services that distinguished it from traditional scholarship providers. Colorado Public Television produced a documentary segment about the foundation that followed several scholarship recipients through their first semester of college, showing how mentorship programs and peer support networks helped students navigate academic and social challenges. The television coverage brought statewide recognition to the foundation while providing valuable publicity for recruiting additional mentors and community supporters. Sarah's growing visibility as an educational advocate led to appointment to the Governor's Commission on College Affordability, where her experience with comprehensive scholarship programs informed policy discussions about expanding college access throughout Colorado. The appointment provided a platform for systemic advocacy while connecting the Martinez Foundation with statewide educational initiatives. The commission work involved traveling throughout Colorado to assess educational challenges in rural and urban communities, providing Sarah with broader perspective about barriers to college access that extended beyond economic factors to include geographic isolation, cultural expectations, and limited academic preparation. The experience informed foundation planning while connecting Sarah with other advocates and policymakers who shared her commitment to educational opportunity. Emma's winter break visit home included extensive involvement in foundation activities, with Emma serving as a peer mentor for current high school students who were preparing college applications. Her firsthand experience with both Westfield Academy's social dynamics and Princeton's academic demands provided valuable perspective for students who were navigating similar transitions. Emma's mentoring work demonstrated remarkable maturity and insight as she helped students understand both the challenges and opportunities that would accompany their college experiences. Her advice focused on practical strategies for academic success, alongside guidance about maintaining personal values and community connections despite changing circumstances. College is about becoming who you're meant to be, not about leaving behind who you are, Emma told a group of scholarship applicants during a college preparation workshop. The goal is to develop your talents and knowledge while staying connected to the values and relationships that matter most to you. Emma's perspective resonated with students who worried that college success might require abandoning their cultural identities or family relationships. Her example of academic achievement combined with community commitment provided a model for how education could enhance rather than replace their existing values and connections. The Foundation's first annual report documented remarkable success rates among initial scholarship recipients, with all 25 students completing their first year of college with satisfactory academic progress and most exceeding minimum requirements for continued support. The outcomes validated the comprehensive support model while providing evidence for the effectiveness of holistic scholarship programs. Sofia Gonzalez earned Dean's List recognition during her second semester at Colorado State University while volunteering with homeless families through the campus community service program. Her academic success was matched by her commitment to practical social work experience that would prepare her for professional effectiveness after graduation. The combination of scholarly achievement and community engagement exemplified the Foundation's goals for scholarship recipients.
James Kim completed his freshman year at University of Colorado with outstanding performance in engineering coursework, while developing English language skills that now allowed him to serve as a translator for other Korean immigrant families navigating educational systems. His personal growth demonstrated how scholarship support could create ripple effects that benefited entire communities. Miguel Rodriguez's artistic development flourished at the Colorado Institute of Art, where his work began addressing environmental justice themes that connected his creative interests with social advocacy. His pieces were selected for exhibition at several Denver galleries, bringing recognition to both his individual talent and the foundation's support for diverse forms of academic achievement. The success stories documented in the Foundation's annual report attracted attention from national educational organizations interested in replicating the Martinez Foundation's comprehensive approach to student support. The National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators invited Sarah to present her model at their annual conference, providing a platform for influencing scholarship programs throughout the country. Sarah's presentation at the national conference emphasized the importance of addressing multiple barriers to student success, rather than focusing exclusively on financial assistance. Her data showed significantly higher retention and graduation rates among students who received comprehensive support compared to those who received only tuition assistance, making a compelling case for holistic scholarship programs. The conference presentation generated interest from foundations and educational institutions throughout the United States, leading to consulting opportunities that would allow Sarah to help other organizations develop comprehensive scholarship programs. The consulting work would expand the Martinez Foundation's influence while generating additional revenue that could support program expansion in Denver. Partnership opportunities emerged with several Colorado universities interested in developing formal relationships with the Martinez Foundation that would provide enhanced support for scholarship recipients while creating research opportunities about effective educational philanthropy. The partnerships would benefit students while contributing to academic understanding of factors that promote college success among low-income students. The University of Denver's Graduate School of Social Work proposed developing a research partnership that would study the long-term outcomes of Martinez Foundation scholarship recipients while providing graduate students with practicum experiences in educational philanthropy. The research would benefit both the foundation and the broader field of educational support services. Colorado State University's College of Engineering expressed interest in developing specialized support programs for Martinez Foundation recipients pursuing STEM fields, including undergraduate research opportunities, industry internships, and professional development workshops. The partnership would address the specific challenges faced by low-income students in technical fields while connecting them with career opportunities. Sarah's personal life evolved significantly during the Foundation's second year of operation, as her increased visibility and professional relationships created opportunities for meaningful friendships with other philanthropists and educational advocates who shared her values and interests. The social isolation that had characterized her years of secret wealth was replaced by authentic connections based on shared commitments rather than social positioning. Dr. Rebecca Chen, the director of a foundation focused on healthcare access for underserved communities, became a close friend and professional collaborator who provided valuable guidance about foundation management and strategic philanthropy. Their friendship demonstrated how authentic relationships could develop around shared values and professional interests rather than social status or financial resources. The relationship with Dr. Chen led to collaborative projects between their foundations that addressed the intersection of educational opportunity and healthcare access, recognizing that many low-income students faced health challenges that could affect their academic success. The collaboration resulted in comprehensive support programs that addressed both educational and health needs of scholarship recipients and their families. Sarah's romantic life also began to evolve as her authentic identity attracted attention from men who appreciated her intelligence, compassion, and commitment to meaningful work, rather than her wealth or social status. The possibility of genuine partnership based on shared values rather than economic benefit represented a significant change from the social dynamics that had characterized her interactions during the years of hidden identity. Dr. Rebecca Chen, the director of a foundation focused on healthcare access for underserved communities, became a close friend and professional collaborator who provided valuable guidance about foundation management and strategic philanthropy. Their friendship demonstrated how authentic relationships could develop around shared values and professional interests rather than social status or financial resources. The relationship with Dr. Chen led to collaborative projects between their foundations that addressed the intersection of educational opportunity and healthcare access, recognizing that many low-income students faced health challenges that could affect their academic success. The collaboration resulted in comprehensive support programs that addressed both educational and health needs of scholarship recipients and their families. Sarah's romantic life also began to evolve as her authentic identity attracted attention from men who appreciated her intelligence, compassion, and commitment to meaningful work, rather than her wealth or social status. The possibility of genuine partnership based on shared values rather than economic benefit represented a significant change from the social dynamics that had characterized her interactions during the years of hidden identity. Dr. Rebecca Chen, the director of a foundation focused on healthcare access for underserved communities, became a close friend and professional collaborator who provided valuable guidance about foundation management and strategic philanthropy. Their friendship demonstrated how authentic relationships could develop around shared values and professional interests rather than social status or financial resources. The relationship with Dr. Chen led to collaborative projects between their foundations that address the intersection of educational opportunity and healthcare access, recognizing that many low-income students faced health challenges that could affect their academic success. The collaboration resulted in comprehensive support programs that addressed both educational and health needs of scholarship recipients and their families. Sarah's romantic life also began to evolve as her authentic identity attracted attention from men who appreciated her intelligence, compassion, and commitment to meaningful work, rather than her wealth or social status. The possibility of genuine partnership based on shared values rather than economic benefit represented a significant change from the social dynamics that had characterized her interactions during the years of hidden identity.
Dr. Michael Torres, a physician who directed community health programs for Denver Health, became a significant presence in Sarah's life through their shared involvement in addressing healthcare barriers faced by low-income families. Their relationship developed gradually around professional collaboration and mutual respect for each other's work rather than romantic pursuit or social positioning. The relationship with Dr. Torres represented the kind of authentic connection that became possible when Sarah stopped hiding her true identity and priorities. Their partnership encompassed both personal compatibility and shared commitment to community service that created a foundation for genuine long-term relationship. Emma's sophomore year at Princeton brought news of her selection for a prestigious summer research program focused on environmental engineering applications in developing countries. The opportunity would allow her to work in Guatemala developing water purification systems for rural communities, combining her academic interests with hands-on experience addressing global challenges. Emma's research opportunity exemplified the kind of meaningful achievement that became possible when talented students received comprehensive educational support that allowed them to pursue their genuine interests and develop their potential without financial constraints. Her success validated the Martinez Foundation's approach while inspiring other scholarship recipients to pursue ambitious goals. The Foundation's third year brought expansion to include graduate school scholarships for students who had completed undergraduate degrees with Foundation support and wanted to pursue advanced education in fields that served community needs. The graduate scholarships recognized that many meaningful careers required education beyond bachelor's degrees, while ensuring that continued support aligned with Foundation values. Sofia Gonzalez received a graduate scholarship to pursue her master's degree in social work at the University of Denver, with specialization in family services and community organizing. Her undergraduate success and continued commitment to social justice made her an ideal candidate for continued Foundation support as she prepared for professional leadership in social services. James Kim was awarded graduate support for pursuing electrical engineering with focus on renewable energy systems at Colorado School of Mines. His undergraduate research on solar panel efficiency had demonstrated both technical ability and commitment to environmental sustainability that aligned with Foundation priorities for supporting education that addressed community challenges. Miguel Rodriguez received support for pursuing his Master of Fine Arts degree at the University of Colorado, with focus on public art and community engagement. His undergraduate work had demonstrated remarkable artistic development alongside growing sophistication in using art for social commentary and community building. The graduate scholarship program represented the Foundation's evolution from providing initial educational access to supporting career development that would maximize scholarship recipients' long-term community impact.
The comprehensive approach recognized that meaningful social change often required advanced education and professional preparation that extended beyond undergraduate degrees. Foundation partnerships expanded to include relationships with professional organizations and employers who committed to providing internship and career opportunities for scholarship recipients. The professional partnerships created pathways from education to meaningful employment while ensuring that foundation investments resulted in sustainable career success rather than simply college completion. The Colorado Medical Society partnered with the foundation to provide mentorship and internship opportunities for students pursuing healthcare careers, recognizing the need for diverse healthcare professionals who understood the challenges faced by low-income families. The partnership created pathways for scholarship recipients to enter medical professions while maintaining connections to their communities of origin. The Denver Regional Council of Governments collaborated with the foundation to develop internship programs for students interested in public policy and community development careers. The internships provided practical experience in government operations while connecting students with professionals who could guide their career development in public service. Sarah's 5th anniversary as Foundation Director was marked by a celebration that brought together scholarship recipients from all program years, demonstrating the growing community of young professionals who had been supported by Foundation programs. The reunion provided opportunities for networking and mutual support while showcasing the diverse career paths and community contributions that had resulted from Foundation investments. The anniversary celebration included presentations by scholarship recipients about their professional achievements and community involvement, highlighting how foundation support had enabled them to pursue meaningful careers while maintaining commitment to social justice and community service. The presentations demonstrated the long-term impact of comprehensive educational philanthropy. Sofia Gonzalez, now completing her graduate degree in social work, presented research about effective intervention strategies for families experiencing housing instability. Her work directly addressed the challenges her own family had faced while demonstrating how personal experience could inform professional expertise and community advocacy. James Kim, working as a renewable energy engineer while completing his master's degree, described his involvement in developing solar power systems for low-income housing projects throughout Colorado. His professional work combined technical expertise with community commitment, creating sustainable energy solutions while providing career development opportunities for other young engineers. Miguel Rodriguez displayed recent artwork that had been commissioned for installation in Denver's light rail stations, bringing public art to communities throughout the metropolitan area while addressing themes of cultural diversity and community resilience. His artistic success demonstrated how creative careers can contribute to community development and social justice. The anniversary celebration also announced the Foundation's expansion to include entrepreneurship support for scholarship recipients who wanted to develop businesses that addressed community needs while creating economic opportunities in underserved areas. The entrepreneurship program recognized that some forms of community leadership required business development skills alongside traditional education. Emma, now completing her junior year at Princeton with plans for graduate study in environmental engineering, served as keynote speaker for the anniversary celebration. Her remarks focused on the responsibility that came with educational opportunity and the importance of using knowledge and skills for addressing global challenges while maintaining connections to local communities. The foundation didn't just pay for my education, Emma told the assembled scholarship recipients and community supporters. It taught me that education is a tool for creating positive change, not just personal advancement. Each of us has an obligation to use what we've learned to make our communities and our world better than we found them. Emma's message captured the Foundation's philosophy about education as a pathway to service rather than simply economic mobility. Her words challenged scholarship recipients to think beyond individual success toward collective responsibility for addressing community challenges and social injustice. The celebration concluded with announcement of the Martinez Foundation Endowment, a permanent fund that would ensure continuation of scholarship programs and community support services beyond Sarah's direct involvement.
The endowment represented Sarah's commitment to creating lasting institutional change rather than temporary charitable assistance. The endowment structure included provisions for community input in foundation governance, ensuring that scholarship programs would continue to respond to changing community needs while maintaining focus on comprehensive educational support and community development. The governance model balanced professional expertise with community accountability. Sarah's remarks at the anniversary celebration reflected on the transformation that had occurred in her own life, alongside the changes created for scholarship recipients and their families. The woman who had hidden her wealth while working as a custodian had become a respected leader in educational philanthropy whose influence extended far beyond Denver's boundaries. 5 years ago, I was afraid that revealing my true identity would change how people treated me and how I related to my community, Sarah told the anniversary audience. What I discovered is that living authentically created opportunities for genuine relationships and meaningful work that had been impossible while I was hiding who I really was. Sarah's reflection on authenticity resonated with scholarship recipients who were navigating their own transitions between their communities of origin and the professional worlds they were entering through education. Her example demonstrated how success could enhance rather than diminish community connections when it was pursued with appropriate values and priorities. The Foundation's influence continued expanding through Sarah's involvement in national policy discussions about college affordability and student support services. Her testimony before congressional committees provided evidence about the effectiveness of comprehensive scholarship programs while advocating for federal policies that would support similar initiatives throughout the country. The policy advocacy work connected the Martinez Foundation with national educational organizations while providing platforms for influencing systemic changes that could benefit low-income students beyond those directly served by foundation programs. The advocacy represented Sarah's growing commitment to addressing educational inequality through multiple approaches. Emma's graduation from Princeton with highest honors in environmental engineering was celebrated at a foundation reception that brought together scholarship recipients, mentors, and community supporters who had contributed to her success. The celebration honored individual achievement while recognizing the collaborative effort that enabled exceptional students to reach their potential. Emma's acceptance to MIT's graduate program in environmental engineering, with full fellowship support for research on water purification systems for developing countries, validated the Foundation's investment in her education while demonstrating how comprehensive support could enable students to pursue ambitious goals that served global communities. The success of Foundation scholarship recipients attracted attention from educational researchers studying factors that promote college success among low-income students. Multiple academic studies documented the Martinez Foundation's comprehensive approach as a model for effective educational philanthropy that could be adapted by other organizations and communities. Research findings consistently showed higher retention rates, academic performance, and post-graduation community involvement among Martinez Foundation scholarship recipients compared to students who received traditional financial aid without comprehensive support services. The data provided compelling evidence for the effectiveness of holistic scholarship programs. Sarah's appointment to the board of directors of the National College Access Network provided a platform for advocating policy changes that would support comprehensive scholarship programs throughout the United States. The appointment recognized her expertise in educational philanthropy while connecting the Martinez Foundation with national efforts to expand college opportunity. The board position involved traveling throughout the country to assess college access programs and advise other organizations about effective scholarship design and implementation. The work provided Sarah with broader perspective about educational challenges while sharing the Martinez Foundation's innovations with other communities. Dr. Torres proposed marriage during a foundation retreat that brought together scholarship recipients, mentors, and staff for strategic planning about program expansion. His proposal occurred during a moment of reflection about the Foundation's impact on individual lives and community development, creating a personal milestone within the context of meaningful work. The engagement was celebrated by the Foundation community, which had watched the relationship develop around shared values and mutual respect for each other's professional commitments. The marriage would represent partnership between two people dedicated to community service and social justice rather than simply personal compatibility. The wedding ceremony was held at the Montbello Community Center, the same location where Sarah had first presented foundation programs to potential scholarship recipients. The venue choice reflected the couple's commitment to maintaining connections with the communities they served while celebrating personal happiness within the context of meaningful work. Emma served as maid of honor, while scholarship recipients from all program years participated in the ceremony as readers, musicians, and celebration coordinators. The wedding became a community celebration that honored both personal love and collective commitment to educational opportunity and social justice.
The foundation's 10th anniversary brought recognition from the White House, with Sarah receiving an invitation to participate in a national conference on educational opportunity and community development. The recognition reflected the foundation's national influence while providing platforms for advocating policy changes that would support similar programs throughout the country. The White House conference included presentations about successful community-based educational initiatives, with the Martinez Foundation featured as a model for comprehensive scholarship programs that created lasting community impact. The national attention provided opportunities for expanding foundation influence while maintaining focus on local service and community development. Scholarship recipients from the Foundation's first cohort were now completing graduate programs and establishing professional careers that demonstrated the long-term impact of comprehensive educational support. Their success stories provided evidence for the effectiveness of holistic scholarship programs while inspiring continued foundation growth and community investment. Sofia Gonzalez had established a nonprofit organization focused on housing advocacy and family support services, using her social work education to address the challenges her own family had faced years earlier. Her organization partnered with the Martinez Foundation to provide support services for current scholarship recipients and their families. James Kim was working as a lead engineer for a renewable energy company while pursuing doctoral studies in electrical engineering. His professional work focused on developing clean energy solutions for low-income communities, combining technical expertise with social justice advocacy that reflected foundation values. Miguel Rodriguez had become a recognized public artist whose installations throughout Denver addressed themes of community resilience and cultural diversity. His success had created opportunities for mentoring young artists while contributing to the city's cultural development and community pride. Emma completed her doctoral degree in environmental engineering and accepted a position with the United Nations Environmental Program, focusing on water access and purification systems for refugee communities.
Her career represented the kind of global leadership that became possible when talented students received comprehensive educational support and maintained commitment to serving others. The Foundation's influence extended beyond direct scholarship recipients to include family members and community networks that benefited from the educational and professional success of Foundation scholars. Siblings of scholarship recipients often pursued higher education, inspired by their family members' achievements, creating multiplier effects that extended Foundation impact throughout entire communities. Community organizations throughout Denver had developed partnership relationships with the Foundation that provided volunteer opportunities for scholarship recipients while creating support networks for low-income families facing educational challenges. The partnerships demonstrated how educational philanthropy could strengthen community infrastructure while supporting individual achievement. Sarah's memoir about her experience transitioning from anonymous donor to public philanthropist was published to widespread acclaim, providing insights about effective charitable giving while inspiring other wealthy individuals to consider comprehensive approaches to philanthropy. The book proceeds were donated to the Foundation Endowment, ensuring continued support for scholarship programs. The memoir included detailed accounts of Foundation development and scholarship recipient success stories, while also addressing the personal growth that resulted from living authentically rather than hiding wealth and identity. The book became required reading in graduate programs focused on nonprofit management and educational philanthropy. Speaking engagements about the memoir took Sarah throughout the country to address university audiences, foundation boards, and policy conferences about effective approaches to educational philanthropy and community development. The presentations provided platforms for advocating systemic changes while sharing practical strategies for comprehensive scholarship programs. The Foundation's 15th anniversary celebration was held at the Colorado Convention Center, accommodating the hundreds of scholarship recipients, family members, mentors, and community supporters who had been touched by Foundation programs over the years. The scale of the celebration reflected the Foundation's growth from a small community initiative to a nationally recognized model for educational philanthropy. Anniversary speakers included scholarship recipients who had become teachers, social workers, engineers, artists, healthcare providers, and community leaders throughout Colorado and beyond. Their presentations demonstrated the diverse ways that educational opportunity could create positive change while maintaining connections to community values and social justice priorities.
The celebration announced establishment of the Martinez Institute for Educational Equity, a research and policy center that would study effective approaches to expanding college access while advocating for systemic changes that addressed educational inequality. The institute represented the foundation's evolution from direct service to broader influence on educational policy and practice. Emma, now working for the United Nations while completing postdoctoral research on environmental justice, delivered the anniversary keynote address via video connection from Geneva. Her remarks focused on the global implications of educational equity while emphasizing the importance of maintaining local community connections despite international career opportunities. The foundation taught me that education is not about leaving your community behind, but about developing the knowledge and skills necessary to serve your community more effectively, Emma said, her words carrying particular weight given her international career and continued involvement in foundation activities. No matter where our careers take us, we remain connected to the communities that supported our development and the values that guided our education. Sarah's closing remarks at the anniversary celebration reflected on the extraordinary journey from anonymous custodial worker to nationally recognized philanthropist, while emphasizing that the foundation's true success was measured by the achievements and community contributions of scholarship recipients, rather than media recognition or professional accolades. 15 years ago, I was hiding my wealth while working as a custodian because I was afraid that revealing my true identity would change how people treated me, Sarah told the anniversary audience. What I learned is that living authentically creates opportunities for genuine relationships and meaningful work that are impossible when you're pretending to be someone you're not. The anniversary celebration concluded with announcement of foundation plans for national expansion, with satellite programs being developed in partnership with community organizations in 5 additional states. The expansion would spread the Martinez Foundation's comprehensive approach to educational philanthropy while maintaining focus on community-based programming and local leadership development. The national expansion represented the culmination of Sarah's transformation from secret donor to public advocate, demonstrating how authentic leadership could create lasting institutional change that extended far beyond individual charitable giving. The foundation had become a permanent force for educational equity that would continue creating opportunities for deserving students long after Sarah's direct involvement concluded. Looking back on the journey from that humiliating evening at the Westfield Academy gala to the foundation's current national influence, Sarah understood that the crumpled $20 bill that had fallen to the gymnasium floor had represented far more than a modest donation. It had symbolized the constraints and pretense that had limited her potential for meaningful impact while protecting her from social judgment and personal vulnerability. The wine she had thrown at Victoria Ashworth had washed away more than just cruel social positioning. It had marked the end of hiding and the beginning of authentic leadership that had transformed not only her own life, but the educational opportunities available to hundreds of deserving students throughout the country. The Martinez Foundation stood as testament to the power of living authentically while using privilege and resources for community benefit rather than personal aggrandizement. The institution that had emerged from personal humiliation and social conflict had become a model for effective philanthropy that prioritized community development over donor recognition. The scholarship recipients who had benefited from foundation programs were now creating their own ripple effects of positive change throughout their communities and professions, demonstrating how educational opportunity could generate lasting impact that extended far beyond individual achievement. Their success validated every decision Sarah had made about embracing authentic leadership while maintaining commitment to social justice and community service. The woman who had once feared that revealing her wealth would destroy her relationships and community connections had discovered that authenticity created opportunities for deeper friendships, meaningful work, and genuine partnership that had been impossible while hiding her true identity. The foundation had provided a vehicle for expressing her values while building lasting institutions that would continue creating positive change for generations. The transformation was complete, but the impact would continue indefinitely through the young leaders who had been supported by foundation programs and who would eventually create their own institutions and initiatives for addressing community challenges. The Martinez Foundation had become more than a scholarship program. It was a model for how privilege could be transformed into lasting social change through authentic leadership and community commitment. The evening that had begun with humiliation over a $20 contribution led to the creation of a multi-million-dollar foundation that had changed hundreds of lives while influencing educational policy throughout the nation.
The journey from hidden identity to authentic leadership demonstrated that the greatest philanthropy came not from the size of donations, but from the courage to live truthfully while using resources for community benefit rather than personal comfort. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.